Yes, people, welcome to Premsy TV. Got a special guest on today, Graham. Value his opinion. If you don't know him, he does the Tactical Analyst Show on AFTV. He's been on there for a long time and he's got very good opinions. So big up to Graham. Thank you for coming on, first of all. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. Am I your first guest?
You're my
First ever
first
guest?
guest. First ever
Wow.
guest, Graham.
Oh, that's fantastic. I feel very privileged, very honoured, mate. And when I met you at the Arsenal Villa game,
Yeah.
uh, I met you at the Arsenal Villa game the other week, and we had a lovely chat. And do you know what? I think you're a breath of fresh air. I loved you the moment you came on AFTV with your opinions. Uh, I think that a lot of the opinions you've got are valid. I love your passion for the club, and it's great to be the first guest on your channel today.
Thank you very much, Graham. I appreciate it. You know me, I'm real. I'm going to say as it is. Sometimes I might not be politically correct or whatnot, but I just speak my heart, Graham. And, I'm from Manchester. I've supported Arsenal all my life. I've had it in the air, left, right, and centre. So when I feel a certain way, I feel like I should be able to voice my opinion. Like I said, everyone's got different opinions. And with me, it's just raw love and passion. And I don't agree with a lot of things that's been happening with the club over the last 15 years or so. So even though we are making a few strides right now, this is why I wanted to bring you on. I wanted to speak about it because I know it's good with, obviously you're good at breaking stuff down. So first of all, Graham, I just wanted to go into the Leicester game. Give me your thoughts on that.
I thought it was a fantastic performance, Premsy, to be honest. It was a real test for us because I think Leicester are one of the teams we're competing with to be in that top six. I think we have to be realistic. We're a long way behind Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. I thought at the start of the season, a long way behind Man United, but Man United have had a dip over the last month. You start to wonder whether they are really going to be in that top four at the moment. I suspect they will be, though, because they've got a good players. And that clash at the weekend, the El Sacco, as we called it, actually did generally become an El Sacco, didn't it?
Oh, you hit
And
the
Nuno,
nail on the head there, Graham. I heard you
yeah,
say it.
yeah, Nuno, the spirited Santo, got the bullet straight after that defeat. So, look, I think we have to be realistic, Arsenal fans, because basically I think we are a long way off where we need to be. But I think the club over the last year have invested now in Mikel Arteta, whether we like it or not. And I respect everybody's opinions on Mikel Arteta. He was not my first choice as manager, Premsy, I'll be honest with you. When I remember I did a show with Robbie on AFTV about 2 years ago. We were discussing when Emery got the sack, who should be next manager. I don't think a manager of Arsenal Football Club should be a manager who basically has never managed before. That's just my opinion. We've
100%.
always had managers in our history who've come from uh, smaller clubs, like George Graham, one of our greatest ever managers, came from Millwall. Even Arsene Wenger came from Japan, didn't he? So I'm not saying that we should always go out and get the big managers, although a big club like Arsenal should aim to get the big managers. I don't think we should ever give the club to untried, untested, but we did that with Arteta. I got the reasons, really. The reasons being that he was coached of a very well with Pep at Man City, and he was highly rated, and he had connections at the club. So I understood all that. It was always going to be a difficult transition after Arsene Wenger, and I think a lot of the things that are inherited after Arsene Wenger were not always his fault. But for all that, I thought it was a real risk. He came in immediately, said the right things, didn't he, Bremsy?
Yeah.
And I think winning the FA Cup bought him time. And I did see a style of play at the start, the way he sort of coached, because we were in a position
Do you know what
where
it is as well, Graham? Sorry for cutting you. Do you know what it is as well? See Arsenal, like the organization that we are, we're massive. We're not a small club. We're huge. So I just didn't understand. It's not the same thing coaching a team and being
yeah,
somebody's number two and being a manager of a club the size of Arsenal Football Club. So what I don't understand is the people at the top that make these decisions. Like, don't get me wrong, he might be a great, great coach in time to come. But we can't see that, and we're not going to know that until that time comes. Yeah, he's won us an FA Cup, but we finished 8th twice. We moved on from our greatest ever manager in Arsene Wenger to move forward and not move backwards. Now, if you look at Spurs, they've just signed Antonio Conte now. And for me, they're moving like a big club. And this is a club that haven't won anything. This is a club that really haven't got a right to be eating at the top table. But they're managing to draw managers like Antonio Conte. And the reason I'm upset about it is because for me, he was the man that I really wanted to take Arsenal forward, because I believe in his philosophy. Yeah, he might play a little bit of boring football and we're not used to that, but he's got a solid plan and he's proven. Do you know what I mean, Graham? So with Arteta, it's just, I want him to do well in it. I want him to do well because he's the manager of Arsenal, but I just can't see the consistency continuing because we always have bumps up and down, up and down. You know what I mean?
I think first of all, Tottenham. Interesting you say that. Today's the 5,000th day that they haven't won a trophy. You know that. 5,000 days without a trophy. I say to any of your followers who follow you on
another 5,000, eh?
Yeah. If they go and check out a link on Twitter, it's called Days Since the Trophy, and Tottenham, it goes up by one every day. It's now hit the 5,000. So look, but for all that, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I think as Arsenal fans, though, I think we have to be. I get what you're saying, and I think there is truth of that because Tottenham are showing ambition. I understand that, but I don't see him turning them around the way they are at the moment. You got a
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, but for all that, I get the point you're making. I think the only thing, the argument against what you're saying is that at the moment Arsenal are on a slight upward turn under Arteta. I think that since the last transfer window, and him and Edu did say, judge us when we got our players in. They've now got their players in, and we were on an unbeaten run of 9-7 in the Premier League, and we have moved up into we were bottom going into first international break with no points, no goals. They brought their signings in, the 6 players, and they have made a difference to the team. I think at the moment, I'm sort of like sitting on the fence thinking, do you know what? We've got to give them more time because we are moving on an upward trajectory. And I think the test is going to be the next few games. I look at the games coming up. We have got some difficult fixtures coming up. Liverpool, Man United, Everton away, and West Ham at home. West Ham are looking really good at the moment.
Yeah,
so I think that'll tell us where we are. But I understand what you're saying. And I get that because over the last few years, we hung on to Wenger too long. We missed the opportunity to possibly go for Pep. We missed the opportunity even to go for Klopp. And when these good managers come along, you tend to think, do you know what? I think we should be an Arsenal Football Club. We should be able to attract a manager of that caliber.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's all about circumstance, when these managers become available, etc. And I think at the moment, it's very difficult. You know, I think we have to be satisfied, grateful for where we are at the moment as the football club, but also not take our eyes off the fact that.
But you know what, Graham? I'm not grateful. This is it. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, as fans, we've become like okay with this, and this should not be okay because, like I said, we're a big draw. I grown up supporting Arsenal, and I was proud. I used to stick my chest out supporting Arsenal Football Club. Now fans are accepting mediocrity. Like, we've been poor for years and years and years and years, and we've had unbeaten runs. We've had, even with Unai Emery, we had 22-game unbeaten run. It's just the same thing that happens again. We end up collapsing, players lose their head, and it's just the same thing that happens. I want to see a consistent season, and then I can start believing, right, okay, this is the process and this is what we can do moving forward. But if you look at Conte now, say, for example, Arteta goes on 8 games and he loses, and we decide to get rid of Arteta. Who would we bring in now? What, the main man who everybody wanted? He's gone now. So unless somebody comes available, really, we're going to have to stick with Arteta, if it's good or not.
I get your frustration around that, and I understand your reasons. I think first of all, the last 2 seasons finishing 8th is not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. So I absolutely agree with you 100% on that. I think there were signs of the downward trajectory long before Arteta came in. Started at the back end of Arsene Wenger's reign, and Emery couldn't arrest it. Although he did get us on the brink of Champions League qualification in that season. Had we not messed up against Brighton and Palace at home, we would have got Champions League football. And I get that as well. So I agree with you. We need to be qualifying for the Champions League, and that's his task, isn't it?
That's the minimum, Graham.
That's the minimum.
All this top 6. Forget about top 6. Top 4. We've not been in the Champions League for 5 years, Graham. If we don't compete in the Champions League again and again and again, we're just going to become we're going to end up like Nottingham Forest. I'm telling you, this is exactly how it is. And we need to change that fast. And if Arteta can't get us 4th, for me, he needs to go. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to accept is I don't think they're going to sack him. And whether you like it or not, the Kroenkes They are absent owners almost, you could argue, but I think they're just wielding to Arteta. Since he's come in, he's immediately has grabbed more power at the football club with Edu, and I think he's running the club now as a manager. Remember, he came in as a coach. He's literally. I think that they love his football knowledge and the fact he's got connections to the club, and they're going to give him time. Now, we've seen that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not working at Man United at the moment for Solskjaer, is it? And I know a lot of Man United fans, probably
Ollie
more
at
than
the
Arsenal
wheel, eh?
fans. Ollie at the wheel.
Them fans must be gutted because I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Graham, they had their hopes up for Ollie to be
They
sacked
wanted,
and Conte
and
to
I
come
think,
in.
I think they wanted Conte, and I think Conte wanted Man United. I think he was waiting for that, and he's had to downgrade and go to Tottenham, hasn't he?
So Spurs is going to be last choice, to be honest with you. Like I said, Spurs. I guarantee you, in January, Spurs will definitely make signings because Conte is not going there without any promises, and that's just the truth of the matter.
I think the big thing is what the situation is with Harry Kane, because he must have been given assurances about Harry Kane. I don't know what leaves Harry Kane. Harry Kane, I called him there. Harry Kane is going to be regretting the rest of his life signing that long-term Tottenham contract. It stopped him going to Man City. And I think he's stuck at Tottenham now. And I think Conte would have asked for assurances that Kane's not going to be sold. I think Kane wants to leave. His body language on Saturday was a player who doesn't want to be in the team. And I think that's why even the Tottenham fans were booing him for his performance on Saturday. So
I think that's also to do with he believes there's no plan in Tottenham as well. I think with Conte coming in, with the players that he'll be able to draw, there'll be a system. Like, he's a proven manager, regardless of what. As much as we hate Tottenham, that's a very good and big move for Tottenham that they made. So I can see Kane staying.
Yeah, possibly, because I think that's the first thing that Conte want to do is get Kane on side. I agree with you. I think Conte is one of the top 4 or 5 managers in world football. So any club that gets him is going to improve and be better. He went to Chelsea, didn't he, and won in the league. And basically, I remember that season, actually. I was at the Emirates when we did him 3-0. And that was the catalyst to the change. We went to the back 3 and won in the league that year. So I think the way that Nuno set him up on Saturday in that back 3, I can imagine that was almost like an audition for Conte without Nuno really knowing it. So, look, I get your point, and it is a worry. They've got a good coach. I still think he's got a lot to do there, but I accept what you're saying. They will get funds. I think at the moment, with Arteta, whether we like it or not, I'm not an Arteta in, Arteta out. But I respect those who don't think he's good enough for the club. And I think your opinions were valid at the start of the season. I don't think he made a lot of mistakes at the start of the season, playing players who didn't have a contract at the club. I think you said it brilliantly on your AFTV fan cam interview. And also his selection at the start of the season, albeit we struggled at the start with COVID, so 1 or 2 players were absent, 1 or 2 players injured. But the way he set us up against Chelsea, against a back 3 team that day when we should have matched them up, I think was setting the players up to fail. So I can understand your concerns at the start. I do think that he's turned it around. I do think we have to be thinking, do you know what, we're on an upward trajectory. Let's just give him a bit more time though. But I accept what you're saying. Now we've missed that big fish who could have been out there. But I think sometimes in football, I think you have to accept situations just arise from nowhere. There might be a manager around. Say if worst case scenario, Arteta doesn't turn us around, and we do look to move on from Arteta eventually. There might be a big manager out there then who's not there now. I know it's hard to see, but football sometimes is a bit like, I looked at that situation the other night when we played Aston Villa, when Tierney, who's like, whenever he's not played in the past, that's one player Arsenal missed. And they had a player and they brought in Tavares. And I just thought, wow, he's taking Tierney's place tonight. We could be struggling here. He's going to have to play a back 3 almost. But I've watched him in 2 games, and that is great recruitment by the club. And he looks, when you think that we're not missing Tierney, that's how good that player is already. And he's only a young, very raw talent. And I just think he's come in, taking his chance. So the point I'm trying to make to you is the absence of Tierney. I'm not saying that Tierney now is going to not come back into the team, although he'll have to work his way back in the team.
Yeah.
I just think we didn't expect that player, Tavares, to come in and look so good so quickly as he has. It gave him an opportunity. He's taken it with both hands, and he looks the real business already, although it's only 2 games, admittedly. But I'm just making the point to you that possibly, who knows, a big manager might be out there if and when if it doesn't work with Arteta. So I think that's something that we can think about as well.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? Some of the recruitment, it has, there's been some bright sparks, like Aaron Ramsdale coming in. I think he's brought a breath of fresh air. Like, I sit in the North Bank as well, so you can see how he connects with the fans. And to be honest with you, it helps with the atmosphere. And even with Tomiyasu, they brought some passion into that back line. You can see at the end of the game, the last game against Leicester, you can see Ben White, you can see Gabriel, you can see the passion that he's breathed through the team. So I agree with some of that. For me, Kieran Tierney should be our captain because what he stands for, I love. And I love the fact that I know it's just the little things like playing without a t-shirt and stuff like that. But them little things mentally show you what a man's about. And Kieran Tierney, since the moment he's come in, he's shown he wants to play for this club. So for me, obviously, Kieran Tierney, he's going to have to work his way back in. But I think the recruitment, like you said, it has been a little bit better. Just to go on what Kevin's saying here, Graham, he's saying with Newcastle more or less getting taken over and Unai Emery could be stepping in, we might just be falling further and further back.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And that's exactly in football now. Sometimes the clubs that get taken over, and it's a good takeover, still a march on all other clubs. So yeah, he's right to be concerned. I don't like the way football's become. I'll be absolutely honest with you. I don't like. You remember, I grew up in a different era to you, Premsy.
Yeah.
I grew up when football was more even right across the board. Football clubs were run by football people. They were sort of like their directors, and the club was literally the money you made as a club was what you was your capital. Your capital.
There was no billionaires, nothing.
No billionaire, yeah. So, and the thing is, I've been following Arsenal for over 50 years, mate. So eighth place finish to me. We're right to question it because football's moved on now. But back in the day, I can remember us coming 16th and 17th in the mid 70s. I've been following Arsenal since 71. My dad used to take me to football. And Arsenal was his club. That was my love for Arsenal came from my dad. And basically, first season we won a double. So, but after that, we had not a lot of success up until the late 70s when we won the FA Cup again. And then in obviously George Graham's era, it really took off. And Wenger came along, gave me my best football as an Arsenal fan. Although George Graham gave me my best moment as an Arsenal fan until '89. But the point I'm trying to make to you is back in the 70s, teams like Derby County, Ipswich, Queen's Park Rangers, Nottingham Forest, as you mentioned, Nottingham Forest, they got promoted. And within 2 seasons under Clough have won the first division and won the European Cup, the old Champions League. You wouldn't see that now. You wouldn't see a team coming up from the Championship winning the Premiership. It's just impossible. And what this thing with big owners has done is basically, I think it just shows the teams who've got the money in football now win the big prizes. You only have to look right across Europe, like PSG. The teams with the money win the titles. So, and in England now, Manchester City and Chelsea and Man United have been the teams that have won the Premier League. Leicester gate crashed it in one season, but we haven't won it now for 17 years because Wenger won it really on a shoestring. Really, when you think he put together the Invincibles, those players when they came to Arsenal weren't even top players. I mean, Wenger, Henry had won the World Cup with France, but he wasn't well known. He failed in Italy. He inherited Bergkamp from Bruce Rioch when he was manager before him. So, but Perez and even Vieira came. He struggled in Italy, and he made those into top players. And then, of course, the move to the Emirates, obviously with the loan that we took, meant we couldn't hold on to these players. At the same time, Chelsea came along with Abramovich, and literally that would change the whole football landscape. And then, of course, the Arabs are coming at Man City. So when they come in at Newcastle, I don't see how we're going to compete unless we change the way the club's managed. Because although the Cronkies had put a bit more money in this year, and to be fair, we did spend most in the transfer window, Premsy, in this current transfer window. I think they have neglected the club for a number of years, and we've fallen well down the pecking order as a result. Because they don't want to win trophies, Premsy. They literally just, it's an investment for them, But the moment owners come into a club like Abramovich, you can see how much he loves Chelsea. He's there at every game, isn't he? You see his passion for the club.
We need a football, Graham. That's it. Like, we need a football, man. Like the other day when we seen Daniel Lek at the game with Henry and that. Like,
we had that in David. We had that in David Dean, but we haven't got it now. I mean, to go back to the gentleman's question, valid point. Newcastle come in. I think it will take them a while though, because the only thing I would say is who's going to want to go to Newcastle? And I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, money
Newcastle,
talks, Graham. Like you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
money talks. You get me? The
but
big bucks are there.
yeah, I love Newcastle fans, right? When I go to games, Newcastle fans are the best fans, right? They deserve some success. So what I meant by who's going to want to go to Newcastle, I meant that players who come to England want to play either in London or Manchester, don't they? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm not saying money won't draw some in, but I think, Mbappe's not going to want to go to Newcastle. And the other thing you have to remember, if they can get big salaries at some other big clubs, they're not going to worry. If you're a footballer who earns, I don't know, 750K a week, and Newcastle offer you $1 million a week.
But it's the project that they're going to be building, though. You got to think. Look at Man City. Look, they came and brought all of our players off us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's a fair point. Yeah, but look, it is a worry because they could come in a few years if we don't get our act together. We could find ourselves dropping further down. But at the moment, whose position are they going to be taken in the top four? It could be Man United, which is more
Man
vulnerable at the
United,
moment.
to be fair.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm trying to say. This disgusts me, Graham. This absolutely disgusts me. We're sitting here, yeah, and we're talking about other teams getting in the top four, like just skipping us. Like that should never be the case. Like we have got money. It's not like we haven't got money. The owner, yeah, fair enough. He might have spent a little bit this season, but that's not enough. We need a lot of investment because, like you said, money talks. And I don't care if we have to buy the league or spend loads of money on loads of players because it's overdue. When Wenger was here, like you said, Graham, going on to your point, when Wenger was here, I was speaking to my friend earlier on, and I was saying to him as well that when Wenger changed the culture, not just of Arsenal, he changed the culture of the Premier League when he came. He was a special manager, obviously, and even towards the back end of his career, like towards the last 6-7 years, got a couple FA Cups and whatnot, but even still, that wasn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? And it's because we wasn't spending the money to compete with these big guys. So it's just going back to it. We need to spend, definitely.
I think the thing is, what did for Wenger in the end was that the stadium started to get a bit more empty towards the end in the league games because, he was still winning FA Cups, and I still think, I'm grateful because as a football fan, I want to win trophies. So winning the FA Cup is still great as a fan, and I'm so pleased. My son, right, who followed me supporting Arsenal, when he saw Arsenal win his first FA Cup, bear in mind the first trophy I saw Arsenal win was actually the league, but I was very young. But the FA Cup in those days meant more to me even than the league because it was such a big day.
Yeah.
But winning FA Cups, I think, did make up for the fall from grace. But ultimately, if you're not in the Champions League, the knock-on effect is, first of all, you're not getting the money for not being in the Champions League, but then you stopped attracting the players. So the big worry is if we don't get back in the Champions League, Premsy, although we're Arsenal Football Club, ultimately we'll not be able to get those real big players. And so that's the reason why we need to get back in the Champions League.
But this comes down to the manager for me as well. Like we had an Antonio Conte into Arsenal. Best believe, Graham, he will be able to draw some big players because players want to play for managers. Like, being honest, if you was a professional footballer, Graham, and you was playing at, say, Real Madrid or the likes of Chelsea or Liverpool, and Arteta came knocking, he's not really proving in it. You're going to be thinking not once, not twice. You're going to be thinking 5 times before you think about joining Arsenal. And that should never be the case.
No, I'll be realistic here. The players that are playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona only join Arsenal if they're obviously not. Well, they're not first choice at Barcelona and Real Madrid because we have got Ceballos has come in the last couple of years. He drew him from Real Madrid, didn't he? Because he was not fancied. Even Odegaard's come in from Real Madrid because he can't get in, or he wasn't fancied by the manager at the time. But I take the point. Even Alexis Sanchez, who I think is one of the best players of the Emirates era who I saw, only came from I think it was Barca, wasn't it? Because he'd fallen down the pecking order, he couldn't get in the side. So I think, but I take your point. Managers do draw big players. I mean, Mourinho was a big draw at the time, able to draw big players, probably in decline now. But I accept that people like Klopp and Guardiola are going to attract big players because of their massive personalities who've brought into the culture of that club, emotionally involved in the club, and have won trophies. So that's going to, players want to win trophies in football. And so when they see managers like that, they want to play for them because they win trophies. So if Arteta's not winning trophies, I take that will be a concern, yes.
But like I said, Graham, see, with us, we finished 8th twice. Now, for me, I'm not happy with that at all. Like, that depresses me because even when it was times we were finishing fourth or whatnot, yeah, even then they weren't good enough because we were never challenging. But when I'm at the game and I look around and I see fans, I can see that a lot of fans have actually kind of given up and accepted the mediocrity, accepted being where we are. And for me, that doesn't run for me, Graham. Like, I don't actually want to accept that at all. Like, don't get me wrong. I want Arteta to make me eat humble pie. Yeah. I like certain things that he's doing in the club. Like, for example, the team spirit that he's brought. I think the players have got a good spirit. I don't know whether that's Granit Xhaka being out the locker room. I don't know, because you can see on the pitch that they've got a team spirit. You can see after the game that they're on the coach, they're singing songs. The team spirit is much more different. And going on to Xhaka, can you see him coming back into this team, Green, after his injury? Because we give him a new contract.
Yeah, that's a strange one, isn't it? The fact that we were trying to offload him in the summer. He wanted to go. He was even learning Italian and being courted by Jose Mourinho, but he came back because we couldn't get the money we wanted for him. But for all that, I think Arteta does love him, and I think he plays in a. He sees him as a leader. I think because one of the 5 leaders is a young team. So, my only worry with Granit Xhaka is, I'm not saying he's not a good technical footballer. I just don't think he suits the Premier League, and I think that he's not press resistant, and I think he's immobile. So I think, having said that, next to Partey, I think he played some good football last year. I think he can help Arteta in the way he wants to build up when he drops into that left-hand slot from midfield. He moves across, but I just think our football become very one-dimensional that way. I like our centre midfielders to be closer together in a pivot. And one thing I liked in the recent weeks with Xhaka not being in the team is not only the athleticism in the team with Lokonga and Partey. Partey brilliant in front of the back four, screening, getting the recoveries in, and able to break play up. But I like the way when him and Lokonga are close together. I think that's what I like to see a football team. I like to see partnerships. Yeah. I think you do as well across the pitch. And I think those being close together, I don't want my centre midfield player dropping across onto the left-hand side, covering for Tierney up high. Yeah. I want Tierney going up high occasionally to support the winger, but not up there all the time.
You can see they drop well. So, for example, what I've noticed when I'm watching the game, when Lokonga's sitting, Partey would be more adventurous. They've got that timing and the balance very well now over the last couple of games. Like you can see normally our players, Danny Ceballos, when we had him in the middle of the pitch and stuff like that, the heads were gone. They didn't really know the positions that well. They were here, there, everywhere, where you could see Lokonga, even though he's young, he made a mistake against Palace or whatnot. But you can see that he's got an older head. He's quite mature. You can see he's played enough games to get that partnership with Partey. And it's good to see.
Yeah, I think James on AFTV said once that he said the eye tells me when I watch him that he understands the game really well for a young player, and his numbers, his interceptions, and his tackles are up there with the best. So why are we putting him across on the left hand side to fill in for a left back going up high when he can hold his own in centre mid? And as you say, he's quite comfortable screening the back four when Partey goes forward, and I think that enables Partey to sometimes be the other side of his game where he can go and break the play up higher and play from broken play, and he can sit there. He does that really well.
Garner as well.
Yeah, he does that. He's a Belgian player who was captain of Anderlecht at the age of 18. So he's got great football pedigree and knowledge, and I think he knows how to play that role. So I've got no worries about Lokonga. I think we unearthed a gem there. Once again, kudos to the recruitment department. They've got, and Arteta, I suppose, and Edu have to be complimented for that. I like him. But I do think Xhaka will
you
come
got
back
to think,
into
Graham, he was referred, you know what I mean? Lokonga was referred, I'm sure he was referred by Henry, and then Vincent Kompany spoke to Arteta. He asked him about him. So, I'll give him credit for getting him in, but he was referred by a great, our system should be spotting these players anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that are a bit problem with it. But like I was saying with Partey, he's a bit more adventurous for Ghana now. If you've been watching him, he plays a little bit more adventurous. And to be fair, with Lokonga sitting, it gives him that support he needs. I think back before Lokonga was there, Xhaka was there, and Partey was moving forward. I think he was in two minds whether he should go or he should sit because he wasn't comfortable with the person behind him. Now he looks and you can see he's comfortable with that.
That's a great point. I think the only thing is that I think Xhaka will come back in because Arteta likes his leadership qualities. I think also if that African Cup of Nations goes ahead in January, we are possibly going to lose Partey anyway, aren't we? So, and I think we are weak in central midfield. I look at our midfield, and I think it's not as good as some of the big teams. I think that's where we sometimes might need to think about improving. Although we have got the Congo, obviously, I just don't see the backup there either. I think
like
a lot
players
of those,
like El Nene need to go, Graham. Like
yeah,
we've just had them
definitely,
too
yeah,
long, and
yeah,
it's
absolutely, 100%, mate, yeah.
no
So
hope with players like that.
no, but I think the other thing with Xhaka is what worries me is I think you'll have to develop a system for Xhaka if he comes back in the team, because I talk about when I do my tactical insight on AFTV. I think the players we got, the spaces need to be smaller. We haven't got a lot of what I would call really athletic, strong, physically powerful players like your Thomas Partey players. He bucks the trend, I think, in the club. So I think Arteta wants the spaces to be smaller so if we're pressing high, I noticed he's moved to this system now, starting games really quick and fast with the high line, and he gets the position of the players closer together. Because I think we recognise that a lot of the players are not like physical imposing players. Like Partey, as I said, is one we've got. But when Ceballos was in the team, I noticed in the past the distances have been so great that when players got up high and we lost the ball in transition, we couldn't get back into our recovery positions quick enough. So with those sort of players, and I think some of those players like Xhaka, if he comes back in, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think so. He's not what I would call a quick player, a mobile player who can get back and recover his position quickly enough. That's why I think he tends to sit a lot. So I think that if Arteta is playing now the way I like to see it, actually, the players are closer together, the spacing smaller, so we can build attacks, but we can also recover our positions quicker. So I think that's the way to go. But I do take your point about Xhaka.
Liability, Graham. He's a
Yeah.
liability, absolute liability.
Do you know what, Bremsy? I did when he came into the team. All players make mistakes, and I judge players who make mistakes in the big moments who give away goals. No players made more mistakes that led to goals in the Premier League than Granit. For all Granit's ability, I think that's one thing that I criticise him for. And when he came into the club, I didn't want him at the start. I did an interview on AFTV back in 2017, I think it was, when he first came. He got sent off against Burnley. And I did say at the time it was looking like money not well spent. And I thought that Conte was shown that was the type of player I wanted, who was pulling up trees at Chelsea. I thought, well, here's a French player. We literally monopolised the market on French players, didn't we, for a number of years, that we missed out on Conte, our recruitment. We couldn't get Conte. There he was at Leicester, first of all, then, and now at Chelsea. Look at him, But I don't think Granit was the right fit for us for the Premier League. I think he's great at international level. It's slower paced. He'd be great in the Italian league where it's slower paced. But that's just my personal opinion. But I respect people's opinions who think that Xhaka is a great footballer and we're better with Xhaka in the team. So if Xhaka lovers rip into me for that, But I'm not. Yeah. That's just my opinion. But I did see it. I did call it earlier. I got absolutely slaughtered. I remember my fan cams on AFTV normally get high likes, but this one, I think, I was in the negative on dislikes. But over the years, I think I've been proved right. He has, we haven't made top four with him in the team. And that's not entirely, since he's come, we've never got in the top four. And that's not entirely fully down to him, but I think central midfield is such a key area of football. And I think since he's been in central midfield, we haven't got into the top four. Look, Arteta loves him. I think he'll come back into the team. I think one of the qualities he has is he understands positions and he's able to drift across on the left-hand side when Tierney goes up high. But one of the things I liked when he first came into the team, actually, he could ping a ball diagonally 30 yards out to the left-hand side. He doesn't do that anymore because he's on the left-hand side when he gets the ball. So, but, in a team of young players, I think you do need experience, and he offers experience, and that's why I think he will come back into the team, Premsy.
See, this is what gets me with Arteta now. See, this is the prime example, because now Xhaka's not being in the team. We think we're 9 games unbeaten now. Do you know what I mean? We've had a good run in the team. Now, with me, Granit Xhaka is perfect, like you said, for the Italian league. He's not built for the Premier League. He's got a good left foot on him, but he's no point having a player who's an absolute liability. He can't keep the red. Do you know what I mean? How many times has he been sent off since he's come to the club? It's just an absolute joke. And when you get sent off, all the rest of the players that are on that pitch, they're suffering because of Xhaka, and they've suffered time and time again. So for me, if Arteta puts him back in, it just shows you the inexperience that he's got. It's just like with Martinelli. He brought him on, I think it was against Palace, with 1 minute to go and extra time. Give him the 90 minutes the next game, and everyone expects to see Martinelli on fire, but you got to take time to find your feet. So there's just some dumb decisions that make. Just one question, Graham, because I've seen it inside the chat just before I go on. I just seen here about Donny van der Beek. Would you take Van der Beek? Because I like Van der Beek, you know.
Yeah, I like him as well. And I think I can't understand why he's not in that Man United midfield. I'll be honest with you. I do like him. Yes, I would take him. You know, if I'm not a Man United fan, but looking at Man United, they're a bit like us. Their central midfield is not strong enough. I can't. When I say central midfield, they got Pogba and they got Fernandes. So they're attacking players. But to play McTominay and Fred, I think is one of the reasons why Man United are struggling in the Premier League, because I don't think they offer the protection to the back four. I think Van der Beek, you think, would come in, wouldn't you? I
think Ollie ain't got a clue, to be honest with you.
I don't know what Ollie sees there. He's the manager, and he obviously sees him on the training ground, and you know you have to respect his opinion. But I feel sorry for the lad. He was a talent at Ajax, and he went there, and a very good player, and I was impressed with him in that season before he went to Man United. I obviously thought they got a good buy there. I just haven't seen him figure at all, and it's strange, you know. But obviously, Ollie's got his favourites, and his favourites a bit like all managers have their favourites, whether we like it or not. And I think he likes Fred and McTominay. I just don't rate that pairing. I don't know what Man United players think about it. I just think they look weak positionally.
I don't rate Fred at all, me. Or McTominay, I don't like him at all.
You know, and to be honest with you, I hope they play against us. You know, so when we play them in a couple of weeks, because I just think a lot of the reason they're conceding goals is because their central midfield is not picking up players and also not offering the protection in front of the back four. One thing is about Thomas Partey over the last few weeks. I can't talk high enough, and rightly was criticised on Monday on AFTV because I didn't give him enough credit. I meant to, but I just didn't get it in when we were recording. His screening of the back four, his recoveries at the moment in front of those players, and albeit Gabriel is an absolute colossus in at the moment, and his partnership with Benjamin White is developing really nicely. But I think sometimes, and I think Tony Adams would admit, when he was a brilliant centre half, one of probably up there as our greatest ever captain, along with Vieira. But one of the things he had in front of him was Patrick Vieira, who actually was able to break up play and offer a protective screen in front of the two centre halves. And I think already what I'm seeing is I like our new spine actually. Ramsdale, Gabriel, Partey, Aubameyang, if I just call it that, for example. I do think that's our best spine for some time. And I do think that one of the reasons why the centre-backs who are really defending really well, but the reason why they're also looking so good is because it's Thomas Partey. So if you flip that to Man United, they haven't Maguire. I don't rate Harry Maguire, to be honest, overpriced for what he is. Although I do rate Varane, obviously. But one of the reasons why I think they're conceding goals is I just don't think they've got the right screen in front of the back four. And that's because of McTominay and Fred, which brings you back to your original point and the question in the chat. Yes, I would take Van der Beek because I think he's a quality player.
Yeah, I just can't get my head around it, to be honest with you. To be fair, I thought he would have come to Arsenal with the connections with being Bergkamp's son-in-law and stuff like that. I thought he would have had, before we went to United, I thought he would have maybe had a look at coming to Arsenal, but I was surprised. But even with going on to Jadon Sancho, they brought him, chased him for 2 years, and they don't even play him. So I think Ollie, is a bit of a weird one. But anyway, forget about United. Don't even really want to think about them too tough. But yeah, Graham. So I just wanted to ask you one question, because there's one player that I would love to sign. I don't think many people know about him. He's a young lad. But I just wanted to ask you, in January, if you could sign one player, who would it be?
Wow. I haven't really thought.
Realistically, though.
Yeah, you got to think realistically. I mean, not a lot of business gets done in January, does it? I'm looking at our team where I want to improve it at the moment. I'm thinking probably, first of all, if we look at it, I think we need a forward. So, and I think that's as much as Aubameyang and Lacazette. First of all, Laka coming back into the team, what he's done, and when he was not in the team at the start of the season, he didn't sulk, did he? And he always came off the bench and did great things, and he warranted getting picked. And also, Aubameyang has now started scoring again, but I do think we need a forward. So I'm looking around in world football thinking, who is available? Because we're not going to get, I like Calvert-Lewin, for
There's
example.
talks
I
of
think,
Calvert-Lewin.
and I would love Calvert-Lewin. If I could take one, I think it would be him. Because I'm looking at Lacazette and Aubameyang, and I just think we're playing them in a two because we like both the qualities that they bring to the team. But you really want that in one striker, don't you? And I think that I want to see the person who can hold the ball up the way Lacazette does and play the way Aubameyang does in one player, the way he can run in behind and at pace. So I'm not saying Calvert-Lewin's massively quick, but he offers strength in the air, hold up play, and I think he is a top player now. So
do you think we would get him in January?
No, I don't think I don't think Everton would sell. I think the money's too much. But I think forward's the area we need to look at. I know we're being linked with the guy at Real Madrid, aren't we?
Jovic.
I can't think. Yeah, I'm not so certain about him, to be honest. But I'm just trying to think who it is. We were linked actually with Calvert-Lewin and Watkins. I watched Watkins the other night. It didn't really impress me that much. I think Calvert-Lewin is the one I would take. If you could say money's no object and we could get him, that's who we'd want. But I just can't see it happening.
Someone's saying it, Ivan Toney.
Oh yeah, fantastic player. Yeah, he's another one. Yeah, but I like Calvert-Lewin, and to be honest with you, I looked at Tony's numbers in the Premier League. He's first in virtually every category at the moment. The way he's playing,
strong lad he is.
Yeah, and he bossed us, didn't he? And he was brilliant against Chelsea as well. Even though they lost the game, I thought he was brilliant in that game. Yeah, he's a real physical force. That's the type of player you want in the Premier League, isn't it? That type of player. Yeah. So I mean, either of those two players definitely.
I'm just going to go with the guy that I was talking about, who I think is a realistic signing. I don't think nobody really knows about him too tough, but I've been following him for a long time. His name's called Thiago Almeida. He's an Argentinian kid. He's 20 years old, and he plays for Club Atletico inside Argentina. And
I haven't seen him, mate, but I'll take your word.
He could play on either wing or a centre attacking midfielder. And let me tell you, this kid is unbelievable. He's got work rate. He reminds me so much of Sanchez. And the reason I would go for him, because I think realistically we can sign him. I think we need to bolster the attacking area. I think Lacazette, I think we're not going to get a striker in January that we want if we want Calvert-Lewin. I think, Odegaard sometimes doesn't have the greatest games. And with Emile Smith-Rowe, we can't just be so dependent on him. And with the philosophy Arteta's going with buying younger players, he's only 20 years of age. And I'm telling you now, Graham, trust me, in the next couple of years, he's going to be serious. Like years ago, I've been talking about Patson Daka and loads of other players as well, as mentioned to my friends and stuff like that. And they come alight. And this guy, if you look into him, Graham, trust me, he's a top talent. And I think it's someone we can realistically get, because with the South American connection as well with Edu, should be someone that they're looking into. But I can't see Arsenal being smart enough to do that.
I'll tell you what, I'll take your word on it and I'll look him up. So try and look at him. So,
Graham, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, look, it's a pleasure, mate. First of all, I hope your channel grows, mate. It's early days. I think you're a breath of fresh air on AFTV. I want to see you doing more fan cams. I think your fan cams are normally the best on the channel when I watch. So, look, I respect your opinions. I've got to know you over the last 2 weeks. If I see you around the stadium, I'll always have to stop and have a chat with you. Maybe we could have a beer sometime. I wish you every success with the channel. And I hope it grows. It's small numbers at the moment, but I think your opinions are very valid. And I would recommend all Arsenal fans, listen to your opinions, because even if I don't always agree with everyone's opinions, but I have a lot of respect for everyone's opinions, and I love the debate. And I think that you've got very valid opinions about the club. I also love your passion for the club. You wear your heart on your sleeve. It came through in your early interviews on AFTV, and I think you impressed Robbie and a lot at AFTV with the early interviews. And I wish you good luck with the channel. I hope you get lots of subscribers. If you invite me back from time to time, I'd love to come on.
Yeah,
and I hope your channel grows. But just stay with it, mate. And I look forward to your previews and hearing your fan cams. So look, good luck with the channel, and thanks for inviting me on today, mate. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Graham, man.
And thanks for all the comments in the chat. And I hope that, today everyone's enjoyed it, and keep the faith. It's a great football club we support. We want the best for the club. And let's
It's
just
a
see how
stressful club, Graham. It's a
it is a
stressful club,
stressful.
man.
Yeah, I know,
I'm telling you, I'm gonna lose my hair soon. I'm telling you, this
yeah,
is what's gonna
but
happen.
when you love the club as much as we do, it is stressful, isn't it? Because it's basically like your family, isn't it? So,
Oh, I'm
and
telling you, you love him.
yeah, and I love your passion for the club, mate. All the best, and thanks for inviting me on today.
Cheers, Graham. Thank you very much, man. Take care. Appreciate it. Yo, guys, big up, and you'll see me again very soon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Big up, like, share, and subscribe.